Okay, it's 7:05, so we'll get started while the last of these are being signed. I think we wouldn't let it come up. So again, our meeting is going to be streamed, and I need to ask if there's any disclosure of pecuniary interest. Okay, so we will continue on then. We have no public hearings this evening. We have no delegations this evening, and so we move on to question period. Yes.
Joe Kozlowski, 476 Quantico. In-camera meetings are private. Is that correct?
Yes.
After the meeting, the vote is public.
There is no in-camera meetings this evening, and we have not passed the procedure bylaw to open up
There may be one.
about this agenda.
I'm just asking a question about in-camera meetings.
The questions at this point in time need to be about items on this agenda.
Okay.
Thank you. Okay, seeing no questions, I will deem question period to be closed. So we'll move on to the consent agenda. Is there any items that need to be severed?
I have a question in the severed. So if I wish to ask a question, do I have to sever it, or can it come under
The questions can come under.
business arising?
The question, like when I go through the consent agenda,
Yes.
if you have a question about a particular one, because I go through everyone individually, you can just
Ask
speak
the
up at that point in time.
Okay.
Because that's the point we ask questions. If it's something that you think you want to change council's mind and have severed because you wish to speak against something, then you would request for it to be severed. But if it's a request for information or clarification, you can leave it in the consent agenda.
Okay. In that case, yes, I wish to sever item F1, Leisure Services Department report.
Okay. Typically, we wouldn't sever a report because it's a report that's been written. It's not an item of business. It's simply a report. So when we vote on the consent agenda for a report section, basically all we're doing is acknowledging the reports have been received by council. So it's not something that, but you can certainly ask questions on any of the reports, and we have the Leisure Services Department managers here this evening, so it's certainly something you can ask questions about.
When am I able to, after the consent agenda, then I ask questions?
No, while I go through, when I get to that
Okay.
particular report.
Okay.
But it's not something that you're voting on.
Okay.
Usually it would be items under the B section that will get set.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, so part one, consent agenda moved by Councillor Van Alstyne, seconded by Councillor Malott. Be it resolved that items A1 to F4 inclusive contained in part one consent agenda be adopted.
Okay, so under the adoption minutes, we have A1, which is the special meeting of council June 11th. Yes.
Okay, on that, we were expecting a report back from that representative there around Mallow.
Yep.
Has that report been received? When can we expect it?
I have received something, but I've sent him back with some additional questions. And then as soon as I get that back, I will schedule a special meeting of council to deal with that.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, item 2, regular meeting of council June 11th.
I have a question on that.
Yes.
Part of the representatives and delegations is the hospital was asking for representation on their joint community care network table.
Yes.
So are we going to be discussing that later on?
We will.
Thank you.
Part of that will probably come over the community wellness committee.
Okay.
Because we'll be taking a look at all of that, we're going to be part of that whole process. So yeah, that will come back to the council table to let somebody there.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, moving on, board and committee reports, item B1, corporate services committee meeting of June 4th, 2019. Questions or comments? Okay, there's no matters arising from the in-camera session. So business arising from board and committees. So item D1, recommendation regarding the POA write-offs. Any questions or comments? We have a list of the write-offs included in the package. And item D2, recommendation regarding the code of conduct. Okay, no question there. So going on to bylaws and resolutions. The following bylaws will be read and passed. Item E1, bylaw 292519. It's a confirmatory bylaw not standard. Bylaw 2926/19, being a bylaw of the town of Westmoreland to execute an agreement with eScribe software for meeting and agenda automation. And bylaw 292719, being a bylaw of the town of Westmoreland to execute an agreement with the Eskimo Police Service Board and administer the Solicitor General under the Dog Grant Program. Okay, so moving on to reports. Item F1, Councilor Van Alstyne, I think you have a comment or question on this one.
Yes. Is that your department, Joel?
Yes.
Okay. So when I was looking through here, I see there's there's 2 or 3 areas where we're short of staff and where people are resigning. There seems to be some people off sick, injury, and so on. I was just wondering, it seems to be indicative of there's some kind of perhaps a problem or an issue there.
Interesting question. I'm not sure about the injury part. Is there something specific? I mean, we had an employee off, with some back issues, but
Okay.
it's not a work-related incident.
Okay.
So it's outside, so he's missed some time. He's back at work at full capacity.
Okay.
We did have an individual resign for other employment. So that's where some of the short staff. So when we lost the individual going to another employment, we also had the individual who was also my facility was pretty much cut in half.
Okay. So, like, is there a trend as to why people seem to be leaving? Is there something council can help with? Like, is there an exit interview with these people to find out why they're leaving or anything like this?
Well, the one individual that left this year is I can think of only one individual leaving this year. It's because he's got another employment.
I just, when I see we're short on staff and that, like these reports came at the end of May, I don't know, under the building, have they already been, is that position been held? Is the work going on? Is it still on hold? Like when you've got the building, you've got
Yeah.
project work on hold, short of staff.
Yes, so we're working at, we want to try and do some cosmetic work at painting of the units. We got some feeling in the arena, so now the guys is out, so we're starting to get back and progress with that. To answer your question, going back to the original question, we did lose a front desk person, and it's a casual position. Part of the reason, it's my belief that part of the reason is casual position has no guarantee of hours, so it's a strictly on call basis. So individuals tend to, if we're not providing employment opportunities on a regular basis, they tend to seek employment elsewhere.
So do you think part of the solution to shortages and moving from our work area is we aren't offering enough hours or a rate of pay or something else? Could be this a contributing factor?
That is my belief, yes. But I mean, part of the, it's, I think it's also complicated in the sense that, for example, the number of hours for, say, front desk, it has to do with our opening hours and scheduling shifts, and it's hard to get even balanced shifts to cover everything. And so then you have fewer hours of working with patients. I mean, I haven't really looked at trying to address it or take a comprehensive look at it, saying, well, is there something we could do to change anything like that? My understanding as council has always, I mean, this model has been from going on for years, so I'm not saying this specific council has given that direction, but I mean, we've had some downsizing back in 2014, and so that's some of that restructuring. And, is that part of the problem as well? Because we've cut staff in certain areas. So now when one person leaves, it has a greater impact than it used to have. I'm not saying that downsizing was a bad decision, I'm just saying that its impact is greater. And it's sort of, we're trying to roll with the punches, so to speak. So it's, it's common that we do get short staff. And it doesn't help when we have individuals who go off on short term for sickness. It just seems to compound the problem.
Would you be able to prepare some kind of a report analysis? Like, how do you suggest that we could, going forward, improve this situation? Could you prepare such an analysis, or?
I'd certainly take a stab at it.
Like, we need to be proactive. We want to make this a place where people want to live and work and stay with us.
Yep.
But if we aren't offering all the tools that you need to accomplish this, what do you need from us to do this?
In a nutshell, it always boils down to money, if I may be so candid.
Well, I appreciate the candor. If that's what it is, maybe that's what we have to look at. Maybe that's what we need to budget for.
For example, if you want to look at wages, there's a pay equity system. So if a certain classification within the department gets an increase, then all other classifications are compared on that grid system. So in theory, everybody will get a raise. So that's the financial component. I'm not saying that's the root of the problem, but, and then if you're trying to balance hours where additional hours are more steady, for example, if you increase the number of, say you've elevated some casual persons to a part-time, which is more of a guarantee of hours, now we're also into 15% benefit. So again, we're talking money.
Okay. I would
So
be,
we could try and look at.
I
some
would
of
be
that
interested
and
in such a report if you could bring it back, say for September 1st. That would give you ample time for a September meeting. To give us some kind of an idea, like, this isn't something that's going to be fixed overnight. We realize that, but we need to start making steps right in the right direction to improve this.
Okay.
Councilman Watt.
Can I ask this goes to community service?
Yes, please. So when that report is prepared, can I also request that you have a description of what a casual employee is versus a part-time employee versus full-time employees,
Sure.
what their roles are, so maybe that it'll help with understanding of where we use those positions, and then that will go to community services. Sure.
Yeah.
Councilor Foster.
Maybe even take the hours at each of the positions of the casual, and so that we can get an idea of what the actual hours worked are, okay, to go along with that, maybe for 1 month, or just to get a good feel for, here's a casual worker, they're getting 10 hours a week, part-time's getting 25 hours a week or 20 hours a week, and full-time's getting 35 hours a week.
Yeah, kind of where I was thinking that.
Okay, so we'll continue. Item F2, the Economic Development Department report for May 2019. Item F3, the Public Works Department report for May 2019. And item F4, the Joint Health and Safety meeting minutes for May 2nd, 2019. Okay, so seeing no other comments or questions, I will call the motion. All in favor? Okay, that's carried. Okay, so we'll move on to regular agenda.
So moving into the part 2 of the regular agenda, item G1 is the hiring policy, and that came out of a notice of motion to council that this item be placed on the agenda for discussion.
Okay, so we have our hiring policy as it exists. We shuffle some people here. So is there any questions or any changes requested out of the hiring policy? Councilor Beatrice.
At the corporate meeting, I submitted a notice of motion. It was one that was, it was my error for sure, something that we did in 2015. And we actually did one maybe a little less than a year ago, which I will amend that motion. Motion that's on the floor now.
There's actually, yeah, there's actually no motion on the floor.
But
This was, the request was that the hiring policy come to council for discussion. So there's actually not a motion. It's to take a look at the hiring policy to see if there's any changes recommended in the hiring policy.
the notice of motion was at the corporate meeting, and it was to be brought to the, you were absent at that meeting. Yeah, we passed that and we decided since there was only 2 of us voting on it. Correct me if I'm wrong.
So,
Yes.
Go ahead.
I apologize. I thought that the discussion from that meeting was, and there definitely was a notice of motion with wording and everything. I guess I misunderstood. I thought that after the notice of motion it passed, that the discussion was just bring the policy and not just bring the policy, but bring the policy for discussion in more direction. So perhaps, if you want, we can prepare that resolution as you had requested it and go from there.
No, actually, we won't do that one because that's incorrect. But I will put a notice of motion on the floor regarding that, or I can amend that motion as I did last year. It's the same. If I can do that?
So you want to write a motion now? So.
Or amend that motion that was,
So amend this, the one that's in your package, in minutes.
Yeah, this is on this.
This is the motion.
Oh, I have a chair, yeah. I have
So
a
here. So what did you do?
So the notice of motion read, be it resolved that is recommended by Corporate Services Committee that effectively immediately all new positions and replacement of existing positions will be reviewed by council prior to advertising or prior to the internal selection process. Okay, so discussion ensued. It was the consensus of the committee to include this agenda in item D section of the regular meeting of the council agenda. So the understanding was, in light of the notice of motion from the last meeting, that we would be reviewing the hiring policy at this meeting. That was the understanding. So you want to introduce?
I can
the notice of motion?
I think we're,
yeah,
Yes.
it's okay.
So do you want to amend the notice of motion the wording for the notice of motion?
Yes,
So it really should have, and obviously it's my misunderstanding here. because-
Yeah, it was a misunderstanding.
Yeah, so really what should have happened then was that a motion in the wording that Councillor Duplessis had submitted the notice of motion, because this carried. So so really G1 should have been, as recommended by corporate services, effective meaning all new positions and replacement of existing positions will be reviewed by council prior to advertising or prior to the internal selection process. So really what you're saying, Councillor Duplessis, is that should have been G1,
That should have been on the agenda,
as G1,
but
yeah.
that was our understanding, but it's a misunderstanding, that's fine.
So what we can do is write that out as G1, and then you want to amend it, right?
And then we'll go through the process of amending the motion.
Well, either way, we can defeat that motion, put another notice of motion in, whatever way is, one way or the other is both legal.
I would suggest that you amend the notice
Okay.
of motion that was already passed. So I'll write it
Okay.
up as it was passed, and then we go from there.
That's you.
Okay. Okay, so just to get item G1 to the floor. So item G1 reads, moved by Councillor Malat, second by Councillor Dufour, be it resolved that is recommended by the Corporate Services Committee that effective immediately all new positions and replacement of existing positions will be reviewed by council prior to advertising or prior to the internal selection process.
Okay, so I understand that you wish to make an amendment to this motion.
Yes, I do.
Okay.
I will amend it to be resolved that effective immediately, council will review the replacement of existing positions that become vacant, excluding volunteer firefighters.
Okay, I don't have my current procedure bylaw up here. I don't know how much has changed from, so what you do is, you have that amendment and we vote on that.
Right, because this is not a new, sorry, this is not a new, I was thinking this was a kind of a new notice of motion, but it's not. Okay, so, can I have you read that again, please?
What do you have so far?
Just, effective, as recommended by Corporate Service Committee, that effective immediately, all new positions. And then
Oh, you have the original one.
Yeah, I have the original one. So
Effective immediately, council will review
Okay.
the replacement of existing positions. That become vacant. Excluding volunteer firefighters.
Okay, so the process now would be, you sign it for that,
Okay,
and then you will vote on that.
okay, so we do need a mover and a seconder for the change. And I'll just read it one more time, as recommended by the Corporate Services Committee,
the council will review the replacement positions that become vacant, excluding volunteer firefighters. So I need a mover and a seconder for that amendment. Okay, so I'll just pass that down. You can just, I've written it along the side, it's in your blue pen. It's on the side in the blue pen. So you can just initial it above or below. Okay, so we'll vote on, actually, we'll open up the floor to this amendment first, discussion of that amendment. Any questions or concerns?
There's no time limit on that, like it's not for 1 year or for this term of council or anything. It just stands as a motion on its own.
My understanding it would be for this term of council. There's actually no date on that, so it will be in perpetuity.
Thank you.
Council before.
Is that going to be put into the policy?
Well, it would require a change to the hiring policy,
Okay.
which would, so the hiring policy would need to go back to corporate services.
Yes, and have it done there. All right.
Okay, so we'll vote on this amendment.
Oh.
Oh, sorry.
I have a question here.
Yeah.
Are you talking about all vacant, you including temps and casuals, or are we talking full-time?
Existing positions.
Existing positions? If you have a temporary person, let's say you're in Public Works and you have 2 temps who are working part-time and one of them leaves, do we have to come to council for that? Or you have a permanent and you're looking to fill that permanent position?
Well, I believe when we did last year, Bill, that I don't think staff came to council for the temps or the fill-ins on holidays.
I just want, because it's not really clear.
Well, I was gonna suggest that as another amendment, but we can't do another amendment until the first amendment's been voted on. So we can vote on the first amendment, and then I was going to suggest another amendment regarding hiring those casual positions. So we'll vote on this amendment as it stands. So all in favor of the amendment? Okay, so the amendment is carried. The amendment that I would like to add on this is just basically with the excluding of volunteer firefighters. I would like to also exclude those temporary casual positions that are basically a call list for if they need somebody, if someone quits off a casual position, they're not a full-time employee, they don't have the same salary and benefits as full-time employees. So if somebody leaves, for example, at the complex, and someone quits off the casual list, they can just replace somebody else that's in that casual position because it's not a permanent position. So I would like to add the wording. Council will review replacement positions that become vacant, including volunteer firefighters and casual positions.
I've seen casuals last there for 9 months, maybe longer. Sometime to get on full time. I'm just saying that, is there some sort of a framework that we're looking at?
But again, it's just they're on a casual list. If they're going to move into a different position other than casual, this motion is requesting that goes to council. Right, but if you just want to get a name on the list to fill in from time to time, because I think what we're doing is we're really overstepping our bounds with this motion, like way overstepping our bounds. I completely disagree with this motion in general. If the position has already been approved and hired, been approved and that the position is on the staff payroll and it's in the budget, why are we taking the management role of replacing someone that we've already approved in the budget? That's a management role, like to hire employees and to discipline employees, all of that kind of that stuff is all management, and that's why we have management staff that work. It's not our role to hire new employees, and I think we're just forcing our managers to jump through hoops to replace somebody that we've already basically approved through the budget. We have a budgetary process, and if we're not happy with the budget because we think that there's too many employees, we can request that a budget area get cut. And
Well, I feel that we owe the taxpayers due diligence, and if we can save $10, we can save $10. We don't have to spend it just because we budgeted for it.
This isn't a $10 thing.
Well, I know that, but I'm just saying, if we allot a certain amount of money, and if we can save some money, even though we budgeted for it, that's due diligence for the taxpayer.
Okay, again, it'll be a decision on council. Council Dufour, you had your hand up.
Well, no, I don't want to echo what Councillor Malat said, but yes, I mean, budgetary items change all the time. And if we can end up saving a little bit of money, then I think it's council's oversight to do such things. Like, I mean, we have to make sure that we answer to the people, so we have to make sure that we're doing the best we can for those people.
Okay, so I am going to add the amendments about the casual positions, because if we have to wait, so for example, we just discussed the fact that we're down a casual position. If we pass this motion, in order for Mr. Yusko to replace that casual position, he's going to have to come to council for that. And those casual persons are the call-in that they need someone to fill at the counter. So we already have the position at the counter, and the casual list, they don't get any hours until they get called. So I would like to exclude them from this list. So I'll add that, excluding volunteer firefighters and casual positions. So that would also include potentially a crossing guard. If a crossing guard quits, they can replace a crossing guard at that corner, as opposed to going out for anybody else.
Okay, yeah, so you need to move it.
So I need to
vote on that and pass it, then you vote on the whole.
Yeah. So I just added to the end of the initial amendment. So it now reads, the whole thing reads, council will review the replacement positions that become vacant, excluding volunteer firefighters and casual positions. So I need a mover and a seconder for the wording and casual positions. Okay, so right now, when I call a vote, the only thing we're voting on is the adding of the wording and casual positions.
Is there a parameter on that? No.
There's no parameter on the entire motion. Okay, so all in favor? Okay, and so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to call a vote on the entire motion as it stands. So all in favor of the entire motion. Okay, that is carried. Now let's put my hand up.
The next item is G2, moved by Councillor Duplessis, seconded by Councillor Foster. Be it resolved that the staff exceed is willing with filling the vacant building inspector position.
Okay, I'll open up the floor to discuss.
Okay,
Councillor Van Alstyne.
okay, I have not seen, but I have heard that we have a KPMG report, a service review report,
Okay,
and that in that report, we are budgeted, our needs.
Point of order. You might be getting into something that is in camera. I'm not sure, okay.
Oh, I don't know.
I think that you're okay with how you started, just be careful in terms of how you're wording that. We cannot discuss any specific personnel, issues in an open council meeting. But if you're just talking kind of numbers, continue right now. I'll stop you if I feel we need to.
Okay, so it talked about some of our staffing requirements, and I don't have a copy of that. Though it may be out of order, I'm sorry if I am. Could I have a copy of this report?
Yes.
Yes, of course.
Okay, thank you.
Right.
I might be able to help. We did have a service review through KPMG. We were told at that time we could definitely use a half of building inspector. So we could, so he could be relieved. So the CBO could be relieved when off on vacation or elsewhere. It was believed back then that maybe the Sudbury inspectors might be too busy to come down here. So KPMG said that if we hired a man, this would alleviate that problem. Also said that he also informed us that we could utilize this individual to cover the tri-towns, meaning Nairn, Wetwood, Massey, all the way through, etc. It was expected that this would offset the burden of a new building inspector. I am in favor of making a second building inspector a full-time position, but I'm not in favor of another building inspector.
Okay, that's a little bit confusing. We only have one building inspector that works for our municipality. So you just said you're in favor of the second.
Now, we have another one that works with us as well?
No, that other individual is fully contracted out to other municipalities and does not.
Yeah, and I understand that, but I mean, we could easily bring him into Espanola.
He does not have room in his schedule for that. He's fully billed out.
I doubt that. I mean, come on. I mean,
He's fully billed out. So
really?
We have our chief building official here. Can you comment on the billable hours for that other individual?
Yeah, right now they're looking for more time for him, especially sales managers. Aaron as well is, especially in the summertime, is definitely looking for more time as well. So again, there's no way that he could be spread out anymore. But you have to, the issue with Sable Spanish Rivers and Nairn and Baldwin is not so much the amount of building permits issued, it's the distance to go to do the inspections and work with clients. That takes a lot more time. And like I said, if you speak with Sable Spanish Rivers, they are looking for more time from them, not less.
The other thing is the service delivery review, and perhaps our CEO can correct me if I'm wrong, that reviewed the number of positions that we had at that point in time, and it's not what we required to fill the needs of Espanola. I'm not sure if I have that correct. Can you comment on that?
That's my understanding of the reports. I mean, if there's different wording, I don't have that report. So if you want to bring it in.
What's that, Cynthia? I didn't understand what you said.
The service delivery review, my understanding of that, the 1.5 positions is what we had at the time that the service delivery review was done. And that was only because of a maternity leave and the fact we could only replace that position with a contracted person.
Well, we had Dale here at the time,
So,
didn't we?
He was a contracted person
That's
because
right.
the full-time person was on maternity.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah.
So at that point in time, we actually really still had 2 full-time
Yes.
building inspectors that were for the town of Espanola. And when we took a look at what has happened in the past, in 2009, the second inspector, that's when the second inspector became full-time. There's been some changes, major changes with the Ontario Building Code that happened at that time. And property standards, which used to be part of the fire department, was also returned to the building services. So the building and services, besides the building code, also has to do with all the property standard complaints. And those have to be investigated. And so that's a large part of the work that also is done by that second building inspector for our municipality. And if anything, perhaps if we hired the second full-time building inspector and South Venture and Baldwin are looking for additional hours, there's not enough work for that person here. Potentially we can use some of the billable hours. Yes.
Okay, I'm still a little bit confused because, I mean, there's other places around that hire only one CBO, and I'm looking at 7,650 people. Like, you know, and I mean, this is just one I picked out, but there was others. That's Hanover. But I mean, there's others, and they have different distances they have to go as well. The point I'm making here is if that's the case, then if he's already booked over there, then when our inspector goes on holidays or something, then we'll just borrow him back and forth like that. Because we would have done it if it was Sudbury. We would have brought somebody in from Sudbury. We would have, I mean, they just rent themselves out to us. That's all they do.
In the summertime, when it's prime building season, prime construction season, they're going to be in the same boat because they don't have people that they can just rent out to us, right? So if we hire the second building official, then potentially we're renting the person out to other municipalities if there's any extra time available.
I understand. The reason they have one person here instead of 3 or 4 is because they do that down south. They actually call the other guy up. You have to cover his end this time too. Okay, and that's done. What you're saying is we cannot do that. It's not, I mean, we can do that.
Here's the other question, the municipality that you're talking about, can you identify?
Any municipality, not just this one, you can call any of them.
Well, which municipality is that you're speaking of?
Hanover.
Hamilton? They have, is that what you said?
I said Hanover.
Oh, sorry, Hanover.
Yeah.
Do you know if they have somebody else that's taking care of their property standards? Is that something that you looked
No,
at?
I don't know.
Right, so.
But I mean, you can get
when
anybody
we have
to do
another
that.
municipality that has one building inspector, we're not getting the full picture if that building inspector is not doing the same thing that our building inspector
Okay.
does.
Just a question then,
Yes,
to you,
Go ahead.
Cynthia. How often was, I know we had Joe do the inspection for that as well, like for the standards, right? ESPO standards. He'd work at what did he actually work on that a year?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I'd have to check the hours.
Okay, I mean, I looked money-wise, and it wasn't a whole lot of money, so, you know.
Some of that could be coding as well. I mean, they often go out on site visits, but they might stop by there or make a home inspection and not necessarily record it on their timesheet. So I did want to add that the last time we looked at this vacant position, we did queries from Elliott Lake and the island municipalities, and no one was willing to share their building inspector with us. They cited liability issues and not having enough time to share. So it was definitely something that was considered previously, and it just didn't come up.
Hence the reason I said we have a gentleman here that we can use. He can work for us.
we have a contract.
I know we have a contract, but that doesn't hurt that. That does not hurt the contract. When he's not working for them. Like, I mean, even in the wintertime, right? Did you take them? I thought he only worked like 29 hours in the winter.
We tried. That was in his contract, but it's never materialized. He's pretty much worked 35 hours a week all year round.
35 hours a week.
Between the three municipalities.
Okay, thank you.
I think we're getting into dangerous grounds, turning around and saying, oh, well, right now we have 2 positions. One is contracted out to the outside communities. The hours are stated in that contract, so we've got to provide, those hours have to be provided. It would take some exceptional circumstances not to do that. That leaves us with 1 building inspector to do our community. And when KMP did their thing, they told us we needed more than one building inspector to do the community. It didn't mean that 2 full-time, but we definitely needed more than one. The legislation's changed, and back when we had 2 building inspectors and one was on a maternity leave, only half of our building permits are being closed out. Quite a few of them weren't being closed out. That's a big liability for the town not to close out these building permits, okay? And if you can't get out there to do an inspection, you're still liable for the work. And so, you know, if people feel that strongly that that should be done, then we should hire KPMG to tell us whether or not it's possible and what the liabilities are, because I think we're opening big can of worms.
Although we already did.
We also have that in kind of in the analysis that 75 to 80% of the areas in Michigan's liability claims stem from not complying with prescribed inspections. So the Ontario Building Code has basically when inspections need to be done in parts of that process, and if we don't have somebody to get out to the job site and they proceed, then we are opening ourselves a liability by not having that person. And then a lot of staffing level, like insufficient staffing levels means the jobs aren't going to be done, and the Ontario Building Code regulations are not being done, and we are the ones.
I'd like to point out one other thing is the building department with the inspections can't be run on a profit basis. If we eliminated one person, we would have to cut back all the charges, okay? Now, that's not so bad for people who are building, but it doesn't help most of the taxpayers because we can't make a profit out of that, okay? So if you're taking in more revenue over the long haul than you have costs, you've got to cut your revenue.
All right.
You can't cut taxes for everybody. You use it to cut taxes.
Okay, I think we're spinning our wheels here and going around in the same argument.
Could I just add one other?
Yes, you may.
I would just like to add the value of the building permits, and people just see it as, you know, a compliance thing. But that is really too what gets the assessment on our roll, you know, that generates our assessment and our taxation system and ensures that everybody's getting treated fairly across the board. So there's also that fairness and equitability to it. It's important.
Okay, I'll call the motion, and I'll just read the motion because it's been a lengthy discussion. Be it resolved that staff proceeds with filling of the vacant inspector position. All in favor? The motion has been defeated.
Item G3, moved by Councilor Foster, seconded by Councilor Dickinson. Be it resolved that the video surveillance policy be adopted as amended.
Okay, so you have a copy of the video surveillance policy. Are there any questions or concerns on that policy?
There's a great many concerns. One is that we continually speak to the audio on these sheets. And I can just find it here. Yeah, it says for video and or audience surveillance, audio surveillance. I looked all over the place and I can't see where, well, in fact, somebody mentioned the towns that they went to, and one of them, I went and checked just for fun. And they got video surveillance over here, and this is Guelph, and nowhere do they have audio or even mention audio. And I think in one of your notes or something, Cynthia, you mentioned page 9 of the report, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I went there just to see, and I'm not sure which way you're reading it, but I don't see it as it's saying it's okay for audio. I'm looking at it like it's not okay.
Where are you reading?
Page 9 of the report, like the big report that she handed out.
Different things to do.
Yeah,
Okay, specifically where we're looking on this page.
yeah, right about halfway through the page, it says the amount of personal information, and about the first bullet, it says recording equipment such as video camera, comma, audio recorders, or other devices. It doesn't say video cameras with audio. It says video cameras only, and then audio recorders. Because audio recorders are legal if you're one of the people that's included in the conversation. But for this to look at or to be looking at or listening to somebody, it's not legal at all. Even over here on the next page, it states that if you can zoom in on somebody reading a book, or you can see what he's writing, it's not acceptable. In fact, they would like you to because if that material or if that machine can be manipulated to that effect, they would rather you restrict people from doing it, which means you'd probably disable it and they couldn't enable it again until you had it for a specific reason. It would need to be for a specific reason.
So I'm looking at the paragraph that's about the public space. It just says the sensitivity of that space and personal information collected would increase, but it doesn't say that it's not permitted. And then in terms of the bullet where we're talking about recording equipment such as video cameras, audio recorders, or other devices, it's not also saying that it can't be the same device installed. We can send this to a lawyer to review this policy, because there seems to be some concern that there is a problem with the audio recording. So if you wish, if council wishes, this is something that we can do. Come back to council after it's been reviewed. Council Foster.
Yeah, I'd like to send it off to a lawyer, but also where we're planning, where we have the cameras there now, so that lawyer understands exactly
Oh, yes.
how those are, they're laid out, okay? So that we get a legal opinion on whether or not what we're doing is right or what we're planning to do is right.
Like even on this portion here, it's CCTV portion right at the back. That's the last page, appendix 2. It's just the sign, but the sign has nothing, it has no audio in there whatsoever.
Okay, and that's the municipality's central audience. That's.
Right, and yet ours does show audio. I mean, you can't see it because it's very small, but you can see video, audio. I could hardly read it. That's right there.
I think the concern is, are we gonna have audio also in this building? That would be what we'd have to look at as a policy. If council is interested in audio, are we just interested in video? It's a different game altogether. The problem seems to be the audio.
Okay, Cynthia, please.
So we never have had audio in this building, and there's no recommendation to have that. There is one camera of the 15 at the complex that has audio existing already. That's been in place, I think, almost since it was built. So I was just trying to make the policy fit the practice.
It would be council's decision whether they want to remove the audio from the complex, and then the solution may be easier for dealing with more video in this building.
And I think the problem was the audio was put at the complex because of a problem with the public.
Well, that's what they're getting
Making
from the report, but
making threatening.
yeah, but that's still council's decision. Now we're looking at the policy.
Yeah, absolutely.
If we're going to send it to get a legal opinion, and the council isn't interested in having audio, then we shouldn't do it. That's what I'm getting at.
But I think there's, like, from what I'm hearing, I'm thinking there's some concerns over the legality of having an audio recording versus, whether we're recording audio or not.
Right.
So I think we need to look into the legality of it so that we can make an informed decision, moving forward.
Go ahead.
But my response was in rebuttal to what you had.
For me?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, it was in rebuttal to Ken, but.
It's all right.
Go ahead.
I was doing some reading with the IPC and then the MIFPA and the other one, and it's everywhere it states that not so much that they talk about audio, they don't talk about audio. It's not there. It's just recorded, or it's just video. That's it. They never mention recording. And when they did mention it one time, I think, was if it was done with a subpoena of some type, and it was done through the law, like through a police department. Now, that's all I saw. I didn't see any other, like it was done through a court order or whatever, and it was done for a specific reason, nothing more, just that one reason. And it was done, now, for you, you can have one at home and it can be on it, that's fine, but not in public.
Okay, so there is the access to by law enforcement is addressed in the policy.
Well, not in this one, but I mean, what I was reading, that there's like under the IPC and some 184 something or other, there was something there, and there was another thing on the MIPPA, or it's a very long one, so MIPPA and FIPA or something. Yeah, and either one of those don't discuss audio as well.
Okay.
So if it doesn't discuss audio, if they didn't make a mistake and not mention it, I would suggest they don't want to use audio. And the only other time I've seen it is if you are using audio, you can have a 5-year jail term sentence. I don't think that would happen, but it could, I don't know. But it does say that.
I think we have to be careful when we're quoting other pieces of legislation.
Well,
because
that's why it'd be a good thing to send this out.
We don't know whether that, because I know a lot of the FIPO has talked about recording your own employees versus recording general areas of public.
Oh, I see.
Right, so there's a difference in terms of what you're allowed to record. So I think rather than making generalities, I would like to see this go for legal opinion.
Sure.
And we can get, if I could get consensus, we can just defer this until we have a legal opinion.
Okay.
Councilor Van Alstyne?
Okay, I too am opposed to the audio surveillance. My one question would be, who is the lawyer we are sending this to?
Or we would need to find a lawyer that is specialized in this area,
Okay,
right? Yeah, we have, and so we will make sure that the lawyer does have the necessary background in this area. Send it somebody that doesn't.
okay, my second area of concern is the email I got from CIO Cynthia Townsend, where you are stating that both audio and video is being conducted at the complex. I want the audio to stop immediately.
That's not part of this motion.
No, I realize it isn't, but
So we won't entertain that discussion at this point in time. We'll talk about whether we're going to carry, defeat, or defer this motion to get legal opinion. Okay, so I have seen a number of heads nod when I talked about deferring it for legal opinion. Can I just get a consensus? So yes or no for the legal opinion? 2 yeses on this side,
yes.
yes on this side. Question.
I would just suggest that you vote to defer it, with the following direction to move forward.
Okay, so we will take a vote, and the vote is specifically not to pass this motion, but to defer the motion. And the direction is to seek lawyer's advice.
Bring it forward for the next council meeting. Shouldn't take a lawyer too long to tell us.
And direction to seek lawyer's advice regarding audio recordings. Do we wish him or her to review the policy, see if there's concerns on the policy?
Yeah.
Or just to seek an opinion?
Just seek verification as to whether or not it is illegal or it is legal,
Okay,
either.
okay,
But if they need a circumstance by which we have to render some sort of understanding, then I would give our example.
Current, yeah,
Sure.
our current practices in terms of. the-
Absolutely.
Okay. So direction, so what we vote on is, the deferral of direction, to defer this to the next meeting or to when the lawyer gets back to us, the first meeting after that. Direction to seek lawyers advice regarding recording. And that's all that it is.
That sounds good.
Okay, all in favor of deferral? Yes.
Now, something to Councillor Alstein's, as what she wanted to shut down the audio.
That's not on the floor.
I understand that.
They're out of order.
But I'm just saying, if this is illegal, we should have it shut down immediately.
It's out of order. We'll go on.
Yeah,
to
you're
our
right, it
next-
is.
We'll go on to our next item on the agenda.
And four, moved by Councilor Dupuy, second by Councilor Foster, be it resolved that council award the 2019 winter sand tender to OCL Custom Crushing and Quarrying Limited.
Okay, we'll come forward to discussion.
This is for sand, is that what it is? Nothing to say.
Yeah, well,
Just
so
dirt.
looking forward to the discussion. Okay, all in favor? No one against.
Five, moved by Councilor Foster, second by Councilor Dupuy, be resolved that council accept and endorse the updated Town of Espanola Energy Conservation and Demand Management Plan 2020 to 2024, dated July 1st, 2019, and approval to consider the energy conservation measures outlined within the plan in an effort to achieve the stated additional 5 to 10% reduction in energy consumption in municipal operations by 2025 compared to the 2014 baseline.
Okay, open up for discussion. Okay, we'll call the motion then.
I do have a question, sorry.
Go ahead.
Just on, it seems to be well laid out. And there's a timeline on a number of these energy saving projects. I'm just wondering if it, if they're going to say, example, install a heat recovery system for the swimming pool. Is it something, if we're passing this motion, that we have to do, or is it going to come to us at that time with the costs? Would you know that?
Please.
So everything would come to council, anything of any significance.
Thank you.
Yes.
I would think that all these projects are gonna have to stand on their own merits as far as financial return. I don't know if we're gonna spend a whole bunch of money to get a 500-year return on something because it cuts the energy 1%, or 1/4% or 10% or whatever. It has to make a little bit of economic sense as well. So the budgeting will probably take care of a lot of that. We put these things in here. It's like the insulating the arena. We're gonna, before we proceed with that, we've got to at least see what the financial return is. Does it make any sense to insulate the arena?
The lights that we changed and everything all over town, like LEDs. Yeah, that was 2014. That so it was about 2015 we did that.
Yeah, 2014.
Okay, so we must be pretty good then within our parameters, like 5 to 15 or 5 to 10 or whatever.
Yeah,
Percent.
that's no good.
Yeah, and it's an ongoing thing you said as well in here, so it's not something we have to take, like,
Here we go.
we can do some changes.
Streetlights in 2011 cost $462,000.
Okay.
2018, they cost $171,000.
There. There you
And Mike was there earlier, they all use projects, we just, we're reducing the energy consumption. We will see the payback period.
Yes.
That's
That's right.
Okay, I'll call the motion now, all in favor? Okay, motion carried. Okay, so when we take a look at the rest of our agenda for this evening, there's been no correspondence with information only. And then there's a list of items that were circulated to council. So if you missed that in your email or request a printed copy, you can request that from your town staff. The beginning of August is the next conference that's been on our schedule for a while. So we'll move into mayor and council reports and announcements. So we'll start with.
Okay, so I attended a meeting on June 12th regarding the 100th anniversary of Baby Alice. They called all service groups and committees to meet with them, and the mayor and council were invited also to help with the collecting of equipment that needed, us volunteers needed to bring this event forward. And the event is August 2nd and 4th. And very few people attended. So, like, we brainstormed a little, and letters will be going out to the service groups asking for support. And it was a lovely evening.
Thank you for attending that.
Oh, we were here for the flag raising, and there was a few people here. It was kind of nice. You didn't have too much trouble with the flag, so that was really good too. That's about all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, I attended the DSAB property meeting on Wednesday, June the 19th, and the regular meeting on the 20th. They are putting together a housing survey that's being emailed to the municipalities and a request from council to be complete and returned. They're looking, one of their main requirements at this time for housing is 2-bedroom units. And they were also looking to see what, if anything, council or the town had available from them. And I did receive another email from Clerk Rock indicating some of our incentives in that for new buildings. Earlier tonight, we talked about the community and wellness plans and the town looking for individuals to sit on it, but you kind of lost me when you talked about what you were doing for representatives on that.
Okay, I'll address that when I just meet.
Okay, and the other thing is in at the DSAB meeting, I know you're busy and you weren't able to go. I wondered if you would consider maybe asking someone else to be an alternate for you for the nights you couldn't go.
Okay.
Up to you. Now, the other thing I have is, as I brought up earlier, is this here email we got from CAO Cynthia Townsend about the video and audio recording going on at the complex. I'm very concerned with this, and I would like to see the audio recording stopped immediately. Do you wish that I bring a notice of motion or motion forward for that?
You need to.
I would like to so do that, please.
At this point in time, we don't even know if it's illegal. Like, as far as I know, it never would have been put in, if it was illegal in the first place, we're gonna get to where it's illegal. I'm not
However, until we get that opinion, and as of everything that I also have read, audio surveillance is illegal at this point in time. And so I definitely would like a notice of motion and a motion to have that started. Okay, oh gosh, my writing.
Which one?
Yeah, probably motion.
Oh, that's right.
Okay, so this is the notice of motion, and typically we would hear notice of motion if it was an emergency, that can be postponed to the regular council meeting. So the motion being moved by Councilor Van Alstine, seconded by Councilor Dufour. The notice of motion is be it resolved that the surveillance, the audio surveillance at complex cease immediately. So we're voting whether we're going to hear this tonight or defer to the next agenda. All in favor? Okay, so that's carried. So now we need the actual motion. Okay, moved by Councilor Van Alstine, seconded by Councilor Dufour. Be it resolved that audio surveillance at the complex is immediately. So looking for motion. Okay, hearing none, I'll call the motion. All in favor? Is there anything else in your report?
Yes, I also got today from CAO Townsend, the fire department and their costs going over, and the change orders that have come in on there. So I read the updated page 8 that you sent us, that also had the capital funding in there. And also the one, the other email where you're showing that they're already over budgeted by $60,034. Is that correct?
So that's not quite accurate because 37,807 is the building permit value, which is a journal entry, there's no cash outlay.
Okay,
So the difference is 22.
22,000. Excuse me. And in addition to that, there was also design substance removal for 18,736 with HST comes to 21,171. Is that over and above as well?
That's included in the 8 figures.
That is included in there? Okay, so in actuality then, to date, they are over budgeted by roughly 25,000?
Yeah.
Okay, and we are in June, so we still have 6 months to go.
Well, that's the construction costs, which are almost complete. And I didn't look at the budget actuals for the actual fire department.
Okay, so,
There, it could be numbers.
okay, it's just that, like I said, we've got another 6 months to go. I-
But
We're not on
construction
construction.
Yes, but the overall budget, like, I'm just looking at the total amount and making sure that we aren't going over budget on that at all. The
But there's,
budget-
yeah, but they're two separate, right?
Yes.
One's capital and that's.
I realize
Okay.
that. I just wanted to make sure that we were going to be within the budgeted amounts. Okay, that's all. Thank you. Oh, I had one more thing, sorry. I sent an email out, I believe it was last week, that Riverside had changed ownership. They went from Riverside to GFL. I thought it was garbage, but it's not. It's Green for Life. Now, from my understanding, we still do not have a contract with them.
Well, the contract is expired, yeah, and it goes on, annually with the CPI adjustment.
Okay, so normally, because I'm new and I have a lot of questions, do you not bring to council before these contracts are up, when they're coming up and for review?
We certainly did, but the last year's council brought that for direction on, and that's what led to the full discussion about the reduction in the number of bags and so on, and ultimately it was defeated. It's too complicated. So that's where we're at.
Okay, so when are we going to start to enter into negotiations? How does this go about? Do you do it, or does the department managers look after this?
I don't usually do it together, but we're waiting, we haven't received official notice from Riverside yet, and he has indicated that this recycling contract is up as well, and that he can't continue, with just the CPI as he has with the garbage, so we've been waiting for more information from him, and then we would bring it to council.
Okay. Okay, thank you. I'm finished. Thank you very much.
I
I have nothing on it.
In light of the fact that we're not going to replace this building inspector, and we're going to have our building inspector has vacation and maybe sickness from time to time. And I think we should be looking for a report from staff saying how they're going to handle this. You know, because it may be compromising some parts of the business and we should know about it.
Thank you. I will concur with that. I am very concerned that that did not come. And we will be impacted by it. You're down to one chief building official then that is entitled to vacation, and that means that there's not going to be someone to replace that building official in the community, and there will be a direct impact on that. So we definitely need to know. And potentially at that point in time, we may wish to reconsider the motion because once we know what the full impact of that is going to be. I'm going to also say that it was nice to see Councillor before I was raising for Pride last week. He was the only other councillor in attendance of that. Now, in terms of DSAP, to address your concern, Councilor Van Alstyne, my other employer, if I have a period to spare, my employer does not have a problem with me attending DSAP. The problem that comes when I don't have a period to spare. And so I'm waiting to get my schedule for next year before I decide what's going to happen with my representation currently on the DSAP committee.
Okay, thank you.
Now, and to address your other question in terms of the community and wellness plan, this was a grant proposal that was just submitted to the Ministry of Correctional Services or the Ministry of Solicitor General in terms of creating the community wellness and well-being plan. And the committee that Mr. Brunetti is on is a committee that would be involved in the creation of that wellness plan and would have aspects of that wellness plan. So it's something that's going to move forward. I'm looking to bring that back to council back in September when we have information from whether we have the grant been approved or not. And then looking forward in terms of what's going to happen. So if there's any other positions that may need to change on some of the other committees, we'll address that in September.
Okay, thank you.
I don't have anything else this evening. So I have a motion about the future council meeting. So again, we are down to one council meeting in the summer. Our regular meeting of council is July 9th, 2017. That point in time, we're going to be about a 2.5 hour drive to get back to that council meeting. So I'm not sure whether we may attend it. And then the council meeting, August 13th, and for sure
Getting further.
so that council meeting would be a little bit much. So I will be around for the majority of the summer, except for those 2 unfortunately. So Councilor Foster, we'll follow your orders.
When's the next one in June or
July
July?
9th.
I've got a daughter who is expecting here around July 17th, so
Okay.
see what happens.
See what happens if I now I'm not too far away, I could potentially drive back. We'll see what happens. Okay, so I have a motion to adjourn. Be it resolved that the council is hereby adjourned at 8:27. All in favor?
Good night, Mr. Mayor.
Are you kidding? Oh my God.